Thank you. You did not hear this from me, but if you want to know where your students are, they're probably online, not on Moodle, but on Facebook and Twitter. I'm just saying. Right. So, in putting together this presentation, I did a mini online student survey from various programs, levels, and campuses. And the aim was to find out what ICT services works well with students. I'll be mentioning some researchers. At the end of the presentation, you'll find the links to the researchers. Okay, here are the objectives to this presentation. Educators should be in the position to understand students' perspective of ICT services, see what ICT services works well for students, and witness other ICT services that can support and enhance student learning. This is the student's perspective. Educators should be in a position to understand students' perspective of ICT services, see firsthand what ICT services works well for students, and witness other ICT services that can support and enhance our learning. Now, what ICT services works well for students? When conducting the online student survey, I found that students said what works well for them was student mail, change student password, IT help desk, and USP bookshop. These are part of the student kiosk. Interesting, I also found that the acronym ICT, IT, AV equipment, and MIS was some things that students are not familiar with. They did not know or understand the full meaning to these acronyms. Also, students were using these services, but they could not link it to ICT. We were using it quite easily, but we did not know that these were part of ICT umbrella. Also, some of the students, they were not aware that there were ICT services page for students, and that that ICT is important for our learning. Now, one of the things that we also found out from students, that there is a ITS bandwidth policy. Some researchers have argued that Facebook and other social networking sites have educational potential. For Facebook, for instance, it promotes interaction between students and teachers. Here are some of the questions that students are asking. Why not Facebook? Why not Twitter? And particularly if we're going to talk about Moodle, some of the things that students are asking is like, when you compare Moodle, Facebook, and Twitter, there's interaction. There's interaction on Facebook, there's interaction on Twitter. There is interaction on Moodle, but it is not user-friendly, or it is, there's not much interaction, quality interaction with lecturers or students to student. Here's the ITS bandwidth policy. So the question is, why not Facebook? Now, researchers have shown that social networking sites such as Facebook and Twitter have been widely adopted by students in their personal lives. And I say this because I am one of them. I'm someone, wake up in the morning, and one of the first things I do is I check my Facebook. I check Twitter, what is the latest things, what are some of the latest things that's happening around the world, or what's happening in our group discussions on Facebook, when is the next tutorial, or what are the discussions on our assignments. These are interactions that students are already engaging themselves in using these tools. Now, why not Twitter? Some of the things that the researchers have showed is that on Twitter, on Facebook and on Twitter, there is collaboration. Students collaborate with each other. And there's also interaction with our lecturers. Already, I'm sure that in the room, we already have lecturers that have gone and have welcomed these spaces for learning. Now, what I did was I've created a group, a testing group on Facebook, and how it works. Here we have on the left side, we have, I've created a group, and we have add members. So those that have the special interest, the same cause, you add members of the students, and your students interact with you on a daily basis. On the second picture, you have the features of a group, using group features on Facebook. So you have a start live video. This gives opportunities for lecturers to come online and to have to have an online discussion with the students. This gives students opportunity to also comment and ask questions. You also have, and the advantage of that is students can always go back on those discussions and talk about stuff that they find interesting or things that they've forgotten about. They could always go back and see what were the discussions on this. Now, creator poll. The creator poll is really interesting because this feature helps lecturers understand what the students, if students have learned something. If they've learned about, take for example, the lecturer is asking, have you understand the topic? It gives opportunities to students to respond instantly and say yes or no, yeah. And from a lecturer's perspective, you get to find out whether they're learning that topic or they've not really understood it. And there's other features such as create a group event, group chat, group album. And on the last picture you see is the information about the group. An example here is U204 Pacific Worlds. And what we see here is a generic course that uses this platform actively to engage students in learning. We can see that the course coordinator is introducing the topics to the students, and students actively engaging themselves in the discussions on the topics for the following week or the week to come. Here we have groups created by USP students. So there's some technologically aware students that have gone ahead in creating learning spaces to accommodate their learning needs, such as posting questions, sharing research that they find constructive and related to their links. What we see here is students have really taken ahead in using these platforms. Researchers have also found that these social networking sites have been given, students have repurposed these social networking sites, no more just a site where you come and network, but it's become a learning space for students. And there are many more groups that have been created by students to help in their learning. Now, from a student perspective, this is a positive shift that the students have taken to open doors for the universities to facilitate learning through these mediums. Here are the USP Facebook pages, and some of these pages update students on what's happening around campus. Next question is also, why not Twitter? Twitter is another platform for learning. Here, researchers have found that Twitter encourages most students that do not normally participate in discussion face-to-face to go online and to discuss. These students may also help students to come out of the shells in participating in discussions. Some other benefits of using Twitter: course coordinators can tweet about upcoming due dates of assignments, coordinate assignments, connect with the community, live tweets about field trips, ask questions, post supplementary materials, facilitate discussions, and make recommendations. And Twitter is also a place where we can have our outreach to other communities and also the world at large. How students may be monitored. Now, we have the lab opening hours. ICT labs can be timetabled for the use of social networking for courses, and this is just like lecturers lecturers placing bookings for satellite tutorials. And I'm sure that many of our course coordinators here also have some other ideas and ways that we can monitor students and also help in the quality of their learning online. So this is really the overview of students' learning. Now, this is how I interpret this. The world is always changing. ICT has the challenge to accommodate these changes. And this challenges the lecturers to do more research on the integration of technology into learning. Thus, for us producing students that are not only tech-savvy, but also knowledgeable of the units and its links to the world. Now, what we see here is the status of the use of ICT in learning and teaching from the student's perspective. There are disconnects in the current disconnect in the use of ICT services in learning and teaching. And we feel that we need to see and feel the interaction of ICT services during teaching and learning. Now, we know that this is a process, and as students, we are here, we are willing to learn and to also move with the lecturers and ICT services personnel in reaching the future, which is where we are all consistent and working together, the ICT services, academic staff, and the students. Suggestions, USP Orientation Week. Perhaps we could have first-year students to be introduced well on ICT services at USP, maybe through faculty-based wise, and also using of social networking sites in few selected labs, especially for those units that are fully based online. And it's not only limited to fully based online. Most probably course coordinators of other streams would like to use it trial basis to see if it works for them as well. Again, no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. And then these questions.
Thanks very much, Luisa. I will just mention that we do now have online orientation. It's been started a little bit late last semester, and it'll be fully running the next semester. So we now just move to the presentations from the Faculty Excellence Awards, and the first speaker is Dr. Yoko Kanasawa from the Fale. So, Dr. Yoko.